Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. It's that time of year again when I pretend I have any kind of good taste and give my opinions on the paint jobs laid before me by Formula 1 teams. Like crayon scribbles at the Livery, this is just my opinion and I'd love to hear yours, so make sure you tell me what you think in the comments and subscribe to the channel. And with that, let's take a look at all 10 teams and how their cars will look in 2022. We are going from worst to best, so the Uggos come first. Let's begin. Number 10, Mercedes. So we are not doing the black livery anymore. I guess all racism must have been solved then. Instead we go back to the classic silver and one of the ugliest cars I've seen in years. Too busy, too much stuff going on. For all their troubles on the track, the design department have obviously been sniffing the paint thinner. Weird shade of grey, really ugly turquoise trim. Does the airbox have to be red? And what is with that stupid pattern on the back? This car makes me feel sick. Number 9, Haas. Haas are on livery number 3, technically. First the Russia livery, which suddenly became very awkward. Then a plain white livery, which actually looked alright. Then they went back to their old livery from 2020. There was an opportunity here to do something really interesting. My biggest complaint for Haas is they've never really had their own identity, and this was a chance to do something. I didn't expect the awesome looking Ukraine livery, but just anything but the same boring livery from a couple of years ago. At least it doesn't have a Russian flag, I suppose. Number 8, Red Bull. Seriously, it's Red Bull. They've used the same tired livery for the last millennia. This time they've sprayed Oracle on the side. Whoopee. I have been bored of this livery for a long time and any hope of them changing it up just a little bit have fallen by the wayside. It's bad when you look forward to their test liveries more than their actual racing liveries, but there you go. Number 7, Alpine. So they'll be racing in an almost all pink livery for a couple of races to show off new sponsor BWT. It looks like a racing point. And it's a bit weird. The Alpine livery with a bit of pink on it they'll use later in the season is alright, I suppose. It looks like two cars slapped together, but it's not awful. Again, I just think this team could do better, but as long as BWT are on the grid, we will have a pink car somewhere. And then it'll be hard to remember what team they are because they've been passed around like your sister on prom night. Number 6, McLaren. When McLaren first went orange, it was my favourite car of that year. I really like an orange race car and it was completely different to everything else on the grid. That said, over the last couple of years, they've made it a little bit worse each time. The orange and blue aren't too bad, but it's the chunks of black chucked in all over the car in various places that just ruin it. Not to mention this car has more sponsor stickers on it than a child's laptop. It's a mess. I still like the orange, but when you remember the Monaco livery from last year, you know this car could look so much better. Number 5, AlphaTauri. Every year, everyone salivates over the AlphaTauri livery. Whilst Misery Guts here tells you it's not that good and I don't get it. They've made slight changes and I do think it's a mild improvement. I'm not sold on it though. The colours are dull, it's so meh. It's better, but AlphaTauri aren't much better than Red Bull, frankly. Number 4, Williams. Big changes at Williams. They've lost Golden Boy George Russell, Frank Williams has passed away and their new owners have decided it's the beginning of a new era. Hopefully they won't go back to finishing last then. It's very blue and sort of a callback to when Williams were last successful, you know, almost 30 years ago. In 1996, Williams took 12 wins. In the 24 years between 1998 and 2021, they have taken 11 wins. That is crazy sad. I do like the look of this car. It's a very pleasing shade of blue. The pattern's nice. It looks like it needs something else to finish off the look. A couple of gold stripes or maybe a sponsor name. Number 3, Ferrari. Expecting Ferrari to do anything other than paint the car red is like expecting a rock to do the can-can. It's just not going to happen and would be weird anyway. Has to be said though, this is a very nice shade of red. It's rare I notice any differences in a new Ferrari livery, not without a microscope anyway, but I really like this one. It's neat, it's red, it ticks all the boxes. Number 2, Alfa Romeo. I've heard people disparage this livery because it looks like the Dragon Formula E car. Well it does, but I don't care because they're both great looking cars. I really like the Italian flag on the rear wing. The clover is still on the side. Alfa Romeo have been the second best livery on these lists for me for the last couple of years. So whilst they sink like a holy boat on the constructors table, they do it with absolute style. Number 1, Aston Martin. They added a Dayglow yellow stripe. Enough said. I mean, it was there last year, but it was barely noticeable. This year the yellow is part of the trim and it looks great. Sleek and modern whilst being completely Aston Martin. This is what I mean when I say Haas don't really have an identity. Remove all the Aston Martin badges and I would still tell you this is an Aston Martin. It's a nice shade of green and all the sponsors are neat. This is one of the best liveries in Formula 1 history and I can see it sticking around as long as Aston Martin do. So that is a list of all the Formula 1 teams and their liveries for 2022. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Still the prediction video to go up at some point in the next couple of days. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like and tell your friends. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the Formula 1 and have a good one.